A question I get often is about my black belt. Some people think that I'm not a black belt. Some people call it into question. They think because I make comedy videos or whatever types of videos, I'm not a real martial artist. Some people have said I should have my black belt taken away. Some people have commented on how new my black belt looks. That in particular, I want to talk about. Why does my black belt look fairly unworn? Because it is. So here's my story. So 2021, March of 2021, I did my black belt test. I got a lot of praise for that test. I busted my ass. I had, some of the senseis present at the test complimented me after, said I worked really hard and I kicked ass. A month later, I got my belt. Okay, I got my belt and my certificate. I earned it. I earned it. Okay, and like, I love martial arts. I worked so hard. There was no one at that dojo more than me. Apart from the sensei, no one was there more than me. I was there all the time. I trained in karate. I trained in Kobudo. I trained in Japanese jiu-jitsu. I was on a tournament team competing regularly. I worked there. I was a senpai working at the dojo. Okay, I was always frickin' there. My kids both took karate for a while. Then my youngest quit. My oldest continued. My oldest was a senpai too, volunteering at the dojo. We were always there. It was like my second home. Okay, so the people who rip into me like, no, 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 this is like, I don't have to prove anything to anyone, but this is like, I earned it. Okay, so that was April 2021. I got my black belt. November of 2021, I quit that dojo. So I went through this horrible period of time, a lot of struggles. I had a stalker at the dojo. One of the students was stalking me. The sensei was going through his own mental health stuff, and I got the brunt of it. And he treated me like garbage. I was treated so disrespectfully and so horribly with this stalker situation. Like, I was a victim, and I was basically harassed for being harassed. So I quit the dojo, and this was not an easy choice. So I quit. I quit the job. I quit the 3 martial arts, the tournament team. Like, this is my second home. I was leaving. Okay. And this was the thing that had gotten me through my mom's cancer. And then, like, she had died 2 months before I left the dojo. My mom had died. So I was going through all of this while I had a stalker, while I was dealing with this horrible, like, power struggle, like, from my sensei, like, awful stuff I was dealing with. So I left this place that had gotten me through so much pain, but it had now become a source of my pain. Okay. So I left the dojo, and then I struggled for a long time after that. For, like, I was grieving for my mom. I was grieving like for this dojo I had left, for my whole karate family. I was grieving for, like, I was going through a messy divorce. I, like, went through this whole thing with that, and then my kids and I got COVID, and I was like, I had really shitty cardio for months and months after. I couldn't run without getting winded, and that was really hard. Like, I had gone from being an athlete to not being able to walk up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing. So it was really hard for me, and I didn't do a lot of training. And when I did do my training, I didn't want to wear my uniform and my belt because it brought so much, it was bittersweet, It's like, I've always felt this excitement, this bliss when I put on my uniform. There's something about it that just gets me ready to go. But now I had this pain as part of that, this loss, this anger, this resentment, this frustration, this grief, this fear too, because, like, I was still dealing with the stalker, and anyone who's been harassed, you know how horrifying that is. And there's this shame as part of that, that people blame you when you're a victim. There's this victim blaming and victim shaming that goes on, and I was experiencing that too, and expecting more of the same. And so I struggled for a long, long time. And so since then, I got back into my training and that kind of thing, and I have made videos where I've worn my uniform and my belt, and those times I usually do some training as well, because I'm already in my uniform, I may as well train. But apart from that, I haven't worn my uniform very much. Occasionally, but not that often. I do train regularly, but I don't wear my belt. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I'm training at home, so I don't have to, I can wear whatever I want. I can train however I want. But there is this bittersweet thing with it. And it is something that I want to work on, because I am carrying a lot of pain around it. And, like, so yeah, my black belt looks fairly new because I've hardly worn it. I've hardly worn it. But yeah, I got it, for over 4 years ago. But yeah, the way I look at it is, some people show the wear. They show wear on their belt, like as like it shows the difficulty of their journey. So the difficulty of their karate journey or their martial arts journey, you see it in the wear on their belt. So you see someone has this, worn out, faded belt. For me, I carry the wear on me. So my belt looks new-ish because I carry the wear on me. And as long as I carry that, I think my belt will still look fairly new. And I have to work through that so that I can start showing the wear on my belt again. Yeah. So yeah, that's something I'm committing to facing and working on. It's one of my goals for this month is to start training in my uniform again because it is hard for me. It is hard. So it's not that I'm not a black belt. It's not that I, bought my black belt from some whatever from Amazon or something. It's no, I earned it. I earned it, but I've hardly worn it because pain, loss, grief, so much is wrapped up in that. And it's funny how like, certain things, okay, you watch a sad movie and it makes you think of some losses you've experienced in your life. Do you ever experience this? Like if someone dies, it always brings me back to the first death, to losing my dad as a kid. It's every death compounds, like they all build on each other. And it's like every time I cry, it brings me back to the first time I lost someone or that first like huge grieving process. And so when I wear my karate uniform now, it brings me back to all the stuff I was going through at the time when I got my belt. All the, like my mom dying, all the horrible stuff we had to deal with, like with her, like possible medical malpractice with her cancer treatment and, and all the stuff like after she died of like, her body was basically taken without authorization and held for money by this funeral home director and like all this horrible stuff that we went through and the stalker and the falling out with the sensei and like wearing my uniform now, all of that is tied up in that. And it just brings all of it up. So I have to work through that. And I've talked in a previous video a few days ago about going through all of my mom's belongings as a way to let all of that stuff go. So all of that stuff is going to come up when I go through her stuff, but then I can finally release it. So I need to start wearing my uniform and belt again so that all of that stuff, it will come up, but then I can work through it and release it. So that is a goal for myself for July, to start doing that. And but yeah, so that's why. Hope this answers your question. Thanks for listening.